This podcast includes explicit language and sensitive topics that some may find offensive.
All views expressed belong to the individual speaking and not a representation of any entity that we have been, am now, or will be affiliated with. It's your chance to back out now.
That being said,
If not, enjoy the show.
Previously on The Black Man Misunderstood.
Yeah, no swine though, no pork. Make sure it ain't no pork in your swine. Oh, that's just me.
Black man, misunderstood.
It's your boy Mike B.
In the neighborhood therapist.
Welcome to the Black Man Misunderstood, where we discuss topics about the black man that others are just afraid to speak on. Like this one today. I am your host, the neighborhood therapist. I'm rocking with my brother, as always, Mike B, with his signature. And this is episode 22 of season 3. Where you from? We're not going to waste no time. We got a guest with us. We call him JB. My brother, please introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
Good morning, everyone. It's Jordan Brown. I am super excited to be on this podcast. So I appreciate you guys for allowing me to be on. I am from Glastonbury, Connecticut. Obviously, a lot of people don't know where that is. So I'm definitely looking forward to diving into where that is, what that is all about. But I'm super excited to be here. I'm actually on the West Coast. It's 6:30 here in California, but I'm excited, ready to get into
Okay. Now, you said Glassboro?
Glastonbury. So,
Glastonbury.
Yeah, Glastonbury, Connecticut. It's a small, actually it's the third biggest town in Connecticut, but it's right outside of Hartford. It's about 15 minutes outside of there. I was living there from, since I was in 5th grade, which was going into, I think it was like 2004, all the way through my high school, grade school years, high school years. Got recruited out of there to the University of Bryant, all right, or Bryant University. All right. And then, my parents still live there. My brother and sister grew up there as well. So, the Brown family has some serious roots in that town.
Okay. So, trivia question, but not really. What is that considered? What is that town considered? Is that considered a city, a hood, the suburbs?
That's fair. I consider it a town. When you walk in or when you drive in, it says "Welcome to the town of Glastonbury." Now, I I did not go to an agricultural school, so I don't know what that would be in regards to what considered as a town versus a city. But I must go ahead with a town. But it like I said, it is the third biggest town in Connecticut. And as far as miles across wise, so yeah.
Okay. Now you said something important. We're gonna dig into it. As far as school goes, right? What you telling us right now? You telling us you was one of the very few black faces there?
Absolutely. I think my family was maybe one of 3, and I maybe 4. Just trying to be generous. 4 black, in the town of Glastonbury. It's a predominantly white town. I was actually born in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay.
So Midwest to Connecticut definitely was an adjustment for not only myself but my parents, my father, especially him coming from taking a new job. My mom trying to deal with different people, especially with her children, different teachers. The curriculum was from the East Coast to the Midwest like this. All right, it was a huge difference. I remember my first summer coming into 6th grade. I was super behind on reading, just a lot of what they were teaching. So it worked out in my favor. But definitely was a big adjustment in regards to people. All right, and don't look like us.
Right. So I know you said town, right? But based off of that, right? Just social media wise, would you consider that the suburbs?
Absolutely, 100%. All right, I was
Okay.
suburbs. I cannot. If I ever was on this podcast saying that Glassberry was the hood, it was no. All right, far from it. I I enjoyed every bit of it. I'll be honest with you. And I'll dive a little bit deeper into my appreciation for it, but also why I was very grounded as well. And a shout out to my parents for that and where they're from.
Respect.
Okay. Mike, you want to get into it,
Yeah,
man?
we
You
might as
ready?
well get into it, bro. Let's kick it off.
All right. JB, you ready for smoke, bro?
Let's go, man. All right. I know,
Okay.
man. He liable to pull some rap magic out of his hat. Okay. So I'm ready to go.
Heard you.
Let's dance.
Heard you.
Let's go.
Okay. Do you feel you had it easier growing up in your town?
Easier. Well, I mean, let's break that down. Define easy, because nothing is easy in my personal opinion.
Respect. So I'll jump in here and help out. I guess it's because you know how the adage goes in the black community. People always say, "Oh, it's easy for people to grow up in the suburbs. It's hard for us in the hood." You know how that goes. So I think it's more so when we ask this question, we're asking from the perspective of a black young man in a predominantly white town of the suburbs versus the urban area. So people go on and try to say it's easier, but go ahead. Was it easier?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was more so the sense that the resources that I had were a little bit more or a lot more accessible. But at the end of the day, it's on you to utilize them. As I mentioned before, shout out to my parents. They grew up in Philadelphia, South Philadelphia to be exact. My mom was from South, my dad is from North. Both areas that are considered the hood, as they would say. My mom and dad found a way to utilize the resources that they had to provide myself and my siblings the opportunities that we have now. When we first got to Glastonbury, they sought out schools. Um, they were able to purchase a very nice house in an area where we didn't have to worry about a bunch of the distractions that they had to worry about growing up. Now, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't the best student all the time. So as far as breaking it down for school wise, we all know that in the hood, they always say that the school system is terrible. All right, and the resources that they are providing those schools, yes, they could be a lot better. All right, 100%. But the resources at Glastonbury High School, all right, and the middle schools below them were good, but I utilized them, and I tried to put myself in a position to be able to use them to the best of my ability because I knew what type of student I was. As far as it being easy, it was not easy because trying to speed up with the curriculum and getting up to pace to wherever all the other students were at, that was a challenging task in itself. All right. As far as making friends, thank God gave me the ability to be able to run. All right, run fast. All right, tackle, be athletic. Okay, and I think that is honestly one of the quickest ways to make friends is being able to play sport. Because at the end of the day, talent is going to erase a lot of that gray area. When they start to see what type of person you are. Also, all right. So my game for itself. But the biggest thing was just you being as a person. All right. Like, are you growing up and being, what they think a black man from the hood is supposed to be? This arrogant, very rude type of person. Okay. Or is it a person that is coming that has some manners that was raised right? Right? Are you like that? All right. And I'm not saying, I'm sure some people are probably listening to this. But when they do, they're like, "Well, he's just a little brown nose." No, I was not a brown nose. Mike, you know me from the best of them.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
It also is a situation where my mother always said, "You have the power to change how your perspective is from others. So don't walk out of here and act like you don't know how you were raised, all right, and don't know how to act. All right, have some sense, all right, and recognize situation that you're in sometimes, my dad always said that too. Recognize the situation that you're in sometimes and act accordingly.
Ooh, deep. Already dropping gems.
Oh.
Already dropping gems.
Good bars.
Bruh, come on, man. Come on, man. You do it, making our job easy right now. Making our job easy.
I told you I was looking forward to this, man. This is definitely something we need to talk about.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So I'm gonna get into the next question. So you already answered the first part of it. You were one of the select few black people in the area, but can you explain those feelings? Like you described studies, you described how you walked about the town, how your parents told you to handle yourself. But what about your feelings in those moments? How were you feeling?
That's a good question. So thank God, racism, and shout out to our ancestors that had to deal with the the unfathomable treatings that we don't deal with today. All right, now I'm not saying racism is not apparent. It is. It definitely is. Especially where I live at now. But growing up as a kid, I didn't have that. I had some very solid friends, and I have to definitely give kudos to them for treating me the same as one of their white friends. All right. Yes, I was one of the very few, but I was a standout as well, and I stand out in the sense of my skin color, but also my ability to stand out in a crowd. I felt like I've always had that, and then uh, growing up as we continued through sports, I was a standout as well. So as soon as I would walk in the room, people knew who I was already. All right, and not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but that does make it a little bit easier. All right, for in regards to their impression of you, because they know who you are and what you're about. Um, then when they got to talking to you, that's where the gray area started to happen. Because it's okay, what type of kid is he? All right, well, what type of person am I trying to portray? Am I somebody that's trying to be a brown noser, or is it somebody I'm trying to be genuine? I chose the genuine route, and I think people really got to see that of me as I continued to grow up. I've always tried to put a smile on my face and try to be the best person I could be, even when things are getting tough. I never really try to pay attention to the outside noise of how are these people perceiving me. But I also got to give credit to my mom and dad because they blinded that. They protected me from that. All right. And then when I was ready to face that, it was almost in a situation where I ignored it so much that it didn't affect me, even if it was happening once I left Glastonbury, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dang, he answering the questions before we even ask him, Mike.
Bruh, I'm telling you, I told you how this is gonna go, man. I know this boy. My boy Jay.
All right, man.
Jay
We
be
gotta,
coming with it.
yo, come on, man. We gotta ask the questions that people want to hear, man. For real, for real. You ready?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go.
How was it dating, being one of the few black men in that area?
Oh, that's funny. Me being the only one of the only black men in the school, and I actually somehow, some way found one of the only black girls in the school. All right. So
Wow.
somehow,
Wow.
yeah, I had a girlfriend in high school for my first 3 years of high school. Um, nice black girl. She was just awesome. I had nothing bad to say about her. She we also found it hard, dating in the sense that there was a lot of people. To be honest with you, there was a lot of white girls that felt her very intimidating. Because
Mhm.
all right, she did have a little bit of a mean streak to her. All right, so I do have to give her that. But it wasn't like she was trying to be that way. It was just the simple fact that she had to almost be like that because a lot of those girls, and at that age, uh, they were they didn't know any better. They never had to deal with any. black girls all the time. Okay, and vice versa. All right. So and then this is high school we're talking about. So there ain't no mediators. Okay, there's no type of situation. Thank God, my girlfriend at the time, all right, or during that time, she had a couple other black friends that were around that were either grades higher or lower depending on where we were at in school as far as our grade level, and then there were a couple white girls that was, as they would say nowadays, they was hip. All right, they was hip to the game, so they already knew what's up. Or those are the girls that could come to the cookout. All right, that's probably better. But it was. Am I gonna say it was hard? No, because like I said, outside noise we were able to ignore. But there were some times where there's just certain things we weren't gonna get. All right, we ended up becoming prom king and queen. I'm sure them people were sick about that. All right, but hey, it is. One year, I think it was my sophomore, junior year. We were able to do that. That was awesome. I was in a cat, or I had tore my ACL, so then how about getting prom king in a full leg cast? All right, and her helping me out. That's kind of crazy. So shout out to her for her help on that night. But on top of that, as far as like there were some white girls that took a liking to me as far as like trying to be nice and trying to, and she that's why the intimidation factor came in, the way that she would react to it. And then a lot of the girls when I have talked to after high school, high school reunion, I asked one of them, they were like, she just came off as very, very like, if you touch this or you come around this, it's over for you. Type of
Sound like my kind of woman, bro.
And I appreciate that so much. All right? For real. Even my woman now is that way. All right. And that's qualities that I think I've distracted over the years of my dating life. So I have to, shout out to whoever is looking out for me on that situation. No matter who the woman is. But yeah, I mean, I hope I answered the question as best I possibly can.
Oh no, you definitely did, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, it's no.
But yeah, it wasn't. It would have been different if it was a school full of black folk. All right, I'll be honest with you on that. So that's one thing I will say, and I have no problem saying it. I wish I branched out a little bit more to the towns that had more black people. Got out more. All right, I unfortunately didn't have a car like that. This thing called Uber was never around. It was Uber parents. All right. And then a lot of my friends ended up getting cars a little bit later. So I had to hitch rides and try to figure out from that. That's a story for a different day.
No, respect.
Oh, for
So
sure.
I'm gonna jump into. I think this question needs to be answered. I'm gonna jump into this one. So now, being that you grew up in Glastonbury and you grew up in Indiana, you were born in Indianapolis and everything. Were you ever questioned, or people told you that you weren't black enough?
Hell no. Hell no. Because like I said, they know who to try. They're not trying that. All right. I never got that at all. And I don't know. I'm not saying I don't know why, because thank God I didn't. All right, because I don't know how I would react to something like that. But it is also, like I said, and I'm going back to my principles of how I started this call. Shout out to my parents, all right, because they were able to ground me, all right, and keep me grounded. They took us back to Philadelphia often. I spent many summers in Philly. All right, I have all my family. All right, so every summer when I was younger, all right, even no, not even young. Since I was born, all the way through, not even up till now. All right, I have roots. I have serious family roots there. All right, but the reason why they brought us back all the time was for us to understand that everything that you got up in Connecticut is by way of the hard work that we put in down here.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
Please understand that money don't grow on trees. That hard work is how you get to this part. All right. My dad says it now. He's like, you kids see this. Y'all don't see what all the hard work that me and your mother put in to get to this point. All right. The nights that we had to do this. Now we can eat that. Now we can drive this. All right. Like that's why life is so long. All right. And that's why life has different stages. I never went through the stage of I'm not black enough. All right. Because of that. All right. Because I understood what it was to be, all right, in the gutter. All right. Down in the trenches. All right. And then being able to come back to Glastonbury and understand like what I have is, essentially a privilege. All right. And I need to take advantage of it as much as I possibly can. All right. Within reason. All right. Like it got to a point where my brother and I, and then when my sister came along, we never bragged about where we live at. All right. Our house, this, that, and the third. Like what was ours was yours. All right. We wanted our family to come. I wish they came up more. All right. When we were younger, because we wanted y'all to feel the effects of it as well. All right. Our cousin Furlough, Mike, I think you met him once or twice. My cousin Camille, before he got older. My cousin Dante, before he ended up going to college, they would come up to Connecticut all the time during the summer. All right. Furlough ended up he legitimately, we were lobbying for him to move up to Glastonbury because he was up so much. But go from him to go to the situation he was in to coming up there, that was a luxury in itself for him as well. But back to the original question, no, I never got that, and that is probably the number one reason why.
Respect.
Can I just say something? I
bro.
want to speak directly to your parents, even though I don't know them. And you could let them know they could listen to the episode. You could tell them directly from me, but please tell them I said thank you.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because I feel like what you just said is going to help not just me, but so many people that feel the way I feel. Hear me out, King. I'm from the trenches, right? And the number one occurring thing that me and my wife go through is, if we have kids, because of the area that we live in right now, are we going to raise them here? And how is this going to turn out where they don't feel like they brown nosers or entitled, or you know what I mean? Like, and to me, I'm just speaking for me, bro. I was definitely terrified because I'm like, I'm gonna be fighting my son, bro. Because I'm not. If I have a son, like I'm not going for it. But the daughter, you gotta be loving, right? And I know this is stereotype, but it is what it is. That's me, right? But I was definitely terrified because I'm like, I don't know how I'll be able to look at my child and be like, yo, what you mean? I want a car, bro. You 13? Like, I just. Hey, bro, you for real, bro. You hit it on the head. Take your kids back to where you came from. Keep them safe. Teach them humility. Keep them humble. You a walking example of that, bro. So I appreciate you for keeping it real like that. And please, for real, tell your parents thank you. Real talk.
Thank you.
I'm gonna jump in before we move on. Yo, mama, bro. I'm talking to you, the neighborhood therapist. Me and JB talked about this all through our college experience and after. And I tell you, Mom and Pop Brown is two of the most down to earth people, and you wouldn't tell they got it like that, but they work hard for what they got, bruh. I'm telling you, his pops is giving us pep talks after the games. Are like, yo, this is what you guys need to do. Like, football and everything is good, but y'all got to focus on this, and this. Don't worry about all this other nonsense and the distractions. Like when I tell you Pop Brown and Mama Brown was real, they were real, bro.
Yeah.
No question about it.
I appreciate both of you guys. All right. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to, provide me a platform to, share my thoughts and story as well. But yeah, before we move on, they are the epitome of what it is to be, not only black love in a couple, but just love in general. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and because nobody's perfect. All right, they have went through ups and downs as everybody does, but I am to see where my parents are at now is such a blessing to be able to see what them enjoying themselves together. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and getting to a point, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm sure they're gonna listen to this. They probably laugh, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do their vows over again because that's how much in love they are. All right, and I want that for them because that would be so cool to see. Because I was at their wedding, I just was in my mom's belly. All right, so
It
It
counts.
counts.
but I think I believe their 30th anniversary is coming up, so I need to get with my siblings on planning something like that, because that would be
So,
fantastic.
That'd be dope. In 30 years, bruh. 30 years. That's crazy.
that's
So
yeah,
yeah,
man.
absolutely. But yeah, what else you got? I know you got some more tough questions.
Oh yeah,
Like,
man. You know we here for it. The pressure to be perfect, right? Whether it's don't get in
Mm-hmm.
trouble or fit
mm-hmm,
in, being a black man in the suburbs. Talk to us about that. Were you rocking a certain type of clothing that matched who you were authenticity, or were you wearing what everybody else was wearing in your area? What the music you was listening
mm-hmm.
to, was it because of what you was given, or was you vibing based off of what they was listening to? You can shoot straight with us.
That's a great question. I remember when I first moved. I think it was my first couple of days of school. I came home. My mom was like, "So how's school?" This and that. Like I had solid clothes. Like my mom always came home with the fire. All right, like, well, look at this, put this together. All right, and then of course, my sense of fashion started to evolve as time has gone on. I've always felt like I'm an athletic guy, so I'm always wearing excuse me, some type of athletic gear. All right, it's grown from sweats. All right, to now actually. All right, uh, and Mike can probably attest to that as
Yes,
well.
sir.
Uh, I remember I came home. Everybody had on either the 3H. It was I think it was Hollister.
Mm.
All right. AirPod stuff. So it wasn't 3H's, but
I know what you're going with, bro. Come
Hollister,
on.
Abercrombie, and there was another American Eagle.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So I'm sitting there like, what the hell is AirPod stuff? For Amber, what? Like, what is that? All right, and because they didn't have that in the Midwest. All right, like I never heard of any of these brands. Um, so I come home and I'm like, Mom, like we gotta go to the mall. All right, I was like, I gotta go to these 4 stores. All right, like something from there. All right, she's like, why you need that? I'm like, I don't know. All the kids is wearing that. All right, they look like rocker wear. All right, this is back during that time. All right,
Yo, facts. For my bills and everything.
what
Yo,
is
facts.
what is polo? All right. What is that stuff? All right. Like what you got on? All right. Um, so, from there, all right, I'm probably so dated saying all that stuff. All right.
Yo,
People
you good?
like, what the hell? Like kind of style you had. But as the perfection piece, of course, like there were certain pieces of clothing. Yes, I did. I wear that stuff. Absolutely. I think I have a piece of Hollister hoodie that I love and I won't give up. All right, now because I love that stuff so much. Because it was comfortable. All
Mm-hmm.
right, but trying to fit in regards to like the clothing and everything, it was to an extent. All right, like because that type of clothing didn't fit me. All right, I didn't feel like me. I almost felt like if I was trying to dress like that, I would it would take some authenticity from me and who I am. All right. So I stuck with what I usually rock. All right. Then I sprinkle in a little bit of that as far as the clothing piece of it. Now striving for perfection, I try to strive for perfection in a different way. And that was on the field. To be honest with you, I was one of the rarest people to come through that town. Um, in regards to the sport that I played, and the ability and the way to change a game, the way to change not only in a game but to change a town, the momentum that God gave me the opportunity to bring to that town was something that is out of a Disney movie. All right, you don't see it. All right, so I always had to tell myself that, like, if I'm gonna do what I want to do at this school, I have to be perfect. All right, now striving for perfection, there are going to be mistakes. Absolutely. I ended up having one in my junior year, and it was a mistake that we couldn't prevent. All right, it just, I ended up tearing my ACL in a game, but that taught me that perfection just isn't on the field, but it is off the field as well. All right, and you need to strive to be perfect, not only in the classroom, all right, and you as a person, but also on the field as well. So it wasn't more so clothes; it was more so my day to day activity from on field and off field. If that makes sense.
Nope, that makes perfect sense.
Perfect.
It's striving for greatness to thrive. Basically, it's not striving for greatness just to fit in or just to get by. It was striving to be the best individual that you can be as a whole. So definitely respect that, because when we met in college, you definitely carried that on in college. So
I try my all right, try my absolute best. Um, Even now, when I go back to the town, things have changed big time. The town is growing. There's certain buildings that weren't there before, so it's very nice to see. My mom and dad are, like I said, they're still living there, and they're upgrading their home so they can get up out of there one of these days. Because they don't need that big ass house anymore. But it's nice to always go back to where you grew up, just to see. This will forever be home. But this isn't my forever home. Right? That makes sense. Um, there's a reason why you leave the nest. And to be honest with you, Connecticut got to do, whoever the mayor, governor, whoever, they need to do a better job for young professionals in that state. All right, if they want people to come back and actually provide a life, and like look at Connecticut as a place I can grow up, and I don't have a problem going back if that had to be the case. Like my brother now, he works for ESPN, and he calls me constantly. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. I'm trying to move up to Boston. I'm trying to move up to Boston. All right. I'm like, bro, come, please. All right. Would love to see you. But I feel his pain because when I go back down there, like, I'm like, outside of the restaurants that I know and the friends that are still there that I know, all right, there's not much else to do. All right. So I could, us could go crazy. All right.
Man. Jeez. So you alluded to it, man. I want you to go a little bit deeper. How and when did you realize you were being your authentic self and then not representing what others wanted you to be?
It took a while for me to get to that point. I'll be honest with you. The game that I played taught me, as far as like my body and the way I went about life, that, and Mike can attest to it. And I don't know if you played sports growing up, but I mean, at some point, scouts look at you and it changes your behavior. All right, and it changes your behavior on a day to day basis, because now that you're looking at it, you're not just looking at like, how am I going to perceive if I do this, or if I show up like that, or if I decide to say this statement, how would they look at me? Um, I think trying to find your authentic self comes with time. Up until now, all right, now that I am so proud and so happy to say this, that I'm going to be a father in November.
Congrats, my brother.
Thank you. It took up until now for me to really understand that it ain't about what other people think. Right? It's about what you and yours and your loved ones that you consider closest, what they think, right, and how they feel about you, what support they give to you. It takes a while for somebody to get like that, because as much as it's in this day and age with social media, all right, that growing up, like, social media was there, but it isn't to the point where it is now.
Facts.
All right, where
Fact.
you do something out of line, out of pocket, or questionable in people's eyes, like it will blow up, and it might blow up in your face, and it's very hard to come back from. At least back then, like if you did something to that nature, the chances of it really getting around isn't very hard. I mean, it wasn't harder because people really had to talk and had to be there to see it. All right, the old saying, that's crazy. But nowadays, like that ain't the case. Now, with that being said, um, it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of self reflection, takes a lot of trials and tribulations, my brother. All right, putting yourself, and you're going to be put in situations that are going to develop some adversity, and being able to handle that, and then also being able to react and learning from that. And I've gone through my fair share, and I'm sure I'll go through a lot more before my time on this earth is done. But to answer your question, directly, I think now is when I realized that I am Jordan Brown, and I am a powerful black man that can create change, all right, and utilizes momentum to create that change. And I continue to take each step forward day by day to my destiny.
Respect, bro. Respect.
Mike, how he want us to follow that up, bro?
Bruh, it's easy. Watch me tap in. I got you. So, my brother, this is when I tell folks, when you play sports and you meet people along the way in sports journey, they become family, right? When I tell you Jordan is part of this family that I have, it's crazy. Like, we may not talk every day like how we were in college. We may not hit each other up on the regular like we did in college. But genuine people last the test of time. And JB is one of those dudes that I could definitely say is my brother through and through. And you see it through his life and the eyes of others, period. Last season, I'm pretty sure JB knows this, we had his boy Alex on the show talking about his fitness and his program that he's doing down in DC. Now, what I want the listeners to know is that gentleman Alex and this gentleman here right now, Mr. Jordan Brown, grew up in Glastonbury together and played football together. So that's two brothers from that area that's living and doing what they need to do in this world. So
Absolutely.
Respect my fellow kings.
Mike, man, I appreciate it, dog. Thank you so much. I from day one when I first met you, all right, you and your boy, all right, coming from the same town. I knew both of you guys were solid brothers, all right, and I'm happy that we were able to get to this point.
Yes, sir.
All right, like real. From your days of breaking out into Michael Jackson, all right, Paul, all right, serious, bro, all right, to your growth, from then to now, all right, you about to get married, all right, life steps are happening, and it's so inspiring to see us folk really trying to take those steps. I was talking to one of the coaches I'm out here with today, or yesterday, just saying like, you see everything happening to everybody else, but then when it's happening to you, it's just like, oh my God, it's like so surreal.
Yep.
All right, like it's happening to me now. All right, so but it's natural. Like nothing, no discomfort. All right, yeah, there's actually, I take that back. When you transition, you do feel a transition. All right, so but you feel a good transition and a bad transition. All of the transitions that you were talking about that I'm seeing from both of you. All right, this is episode 22. This is my number, so it's kind of ironic that 22.
Yep.
But, I've been seeing that number for a lot, and I feel like I need to play the lottery. But shout out to you guys, all right, for this platform. This thing is going to continue to blow up. Please have more conversations like this. I look forward to the next conversation. I don't know if this is ending the interview. I'm ready to answer more questions. If
Got one more for you. One more.
For then, all right.
One more banger for you, man. Summarize this. Take your time with it too. Just give us one big experience that you went through that you feel people outside of the suburbs wouldn't believe that you went through because of where you were raised.
I got to go back to this. It changed my life so much. And I don't know where I would be if it didn't happen. I mentioned it a little bit earlier in this episode. But my junior year of high school, October 27th, 2007, I tore my ACL, my MCL, and my meniscus. Um, and what they call is the unhappy triad. Um, Basically, tearing up my whole knee, all my ligaments in my knee. And I was a running back, so that I need that, right, big time.
Mm.
But it changed my life because my perspective on who I was as a person at that time, like almost got like I clean slate. I was able to legitimately go in the dungeon and repurpose myself as a human. All right. And how I go about life. Not just getting back on playing on the field, but like how I go about life. What type of person I am. And all of these questions and all of these, comparisons that I was going through was shout out to my dad, shout out to the town of Glastonbury, shout out to the Dr. Thomas Dugdale, now since retired. All the people that had laid a hand on me to help to get me back. All right, shout out to first and foremost, shout out to the Lord above. All right,
Mm-hmm.
he help help those people realize that I need the help. Um,
Yeah.
but it changed my life to the point where when I came back, I had a different appreciation for life and just being there. All right, and it wasn't like it was a near death experience or anything like that. But like football is a big to me. All right, I consider football life. So I was this close for it to be gone, and that's why I mentioned I don't know where I would be nowadays if that didn't happen. Then I came back, and the town, the love that I got, all right, and the support, all right, from my family, all right, my grandmother. All right, shout out to my nan, staying up with me till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm taking my medicine, helping me, all right, because I wasn't able to move around. Shout out to my best friend high school, all right, my buddy RJ and his family, all right, for his father was a physician's assistant, all right, for Dr. Thomas Dugdale. I don't like calling male nurses, nurses. All right, just seems very weird to me. but, uh, but with that being said, you know, his dad was able to help provide some of that professionalism and how to handle on a day to day basis. And then shout out to Coach Marty Fine. All right. Shout out to Coach Pete Pfeffer and the whole Glassbury Tomahawk team and the whole Bryant University staff for taking a chance on me and giving me an opportunity to play football again. All right. Like I had to earn everything that I got from that date on. All right. So a lot of people in the or a lot of people in the hood will look at that situation and be like, "Yeah, he got hurt. And he got lucky."
Mm.
Lucky. I remember I read a couple comments on people on the internet. I just went by a page. And the guy was like, "Another black athlete tearing his ACL, going to another, another black athlete tearing his ACL. Um, he won't come back the same." I read that before I got hurt. I mean, right when I got hurt, and that just provided me motivation. And then others just like, "Are you going to be the same? Are you going to be this? Are you going to be that?" And I love challenges. I love when people try me. When you do, please don't be surprised when I prove you wrong. Um, I've actually kind of like taking pride in that throughout life.
Mm-hmm.
But the lucky part, I would say I was blessed.
Mm.
All right,
Mm.
I was, and I was, but that is a testament to all the questions that we've talked about through this episode of how you are as a person. All right. Are you genuine? Are you trying to be? Are you doing stuff for things in return? Or are you actually doing it to help people move forward in their life. I'll leave you guys with this. I was at a camp a couple weeks ago, and uh, Coach Peterson, that used to coach Boise State University, my football guys. That's the guy that
Mhm.
coached in the Statue of Liberty. But he was talking to a bunch of the
Mm.
quarterbacks and telling them, like, what is it to be a quarterback? And I related it. What is it to be a person? Um, and he said, being a quarterback is being able to serve others, and in return, you get yours in return. All right. And it's hard for us as people to understand that because we're in the world of instant gratification right now.
Mm.
And understand that I may have to be a little bit patient on getting what I want. But if I'm doing everything I need to do to make sure that the others around me have everything that they need, my blessing bucket is going to be overflowing. All right. So for all you black men, all right, for whoever's listening, please understand that whatever you have in front of you, challenges, tribulations, successes, they are all there for your end goal. So never get too high, never get too low. All right. Make sure that you are always staying on the path. And as soon as you feel like things are starting to waver, pray. Tell you, that's power. It helped me. All right. And please utilize your resources around you. All right. Your parents, your friends. All right. Friends that become family. All right. And then just trust your gut. Trust yourself. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate everything, man. All right. This is awesome. I'm looking forward to this being published. I hope that answered your question. But that
More than did, bro.
More than. More than.
Hey, we appreciate everything you do, bro. Thank you for coming on, man. Shedding the light on
Yeah, real
the
talk.
other side of life that people tend to say different things about and say, "Oh, it's easy over there," but not realizing it's probably just as hard.
just as hard. To be honest with you, if not in some certain cases, if not harder, because you're almost looked at as counted out
Mm.
from jump. And it's unfortunately, there are some resources that will probably check you off already as if he's not going to make it. So they give him a little bit more of a treatment to the people. And I know I didn't really speak on this, so I'll give a little soundbite to that. I didn't feel like I ever got to a point where I was getting preferential treatment either. All right. Like everything that I got, I worked hard for. And everything I didn't get, I didn't work hard for. So when people from the hood that may think that, everybody in that situation gets that preferential, like special treatment, that is not the case at all. All right. It's the same way in your schools all around the world. All right.
So before we go, I'm gonna just you can just give a simple answer to this. Have you? All right. First question: have you watched the new Bel Air series?
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Now,
Great.
now you already know where I'm going. So, would you compare your experience, not exactly almost, but in the same light as Will's experience on Bel Air, how they portrayed it?
In some cases, yes. Um, yeah. In some cases, absolutely. Um, Now, one thing that my brother could probably attest to, like he had the opportunity to follow me in a lot of the things that went right, follow a lot of things that he went wrong for me. I told him don't follow that. But as far as like a comparison, absolutely. Um, and you see in that series, like that series is great. I don't know, like I've heard a lot of people they enjoyed it, and I don't really like it. I'm like, but it's a different Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Yep.
Nah, it was
Yeah,
hard.
like
Yep.
it's not the it's not the way like, they peel back the onion a lot more on this,
Right.
right? And it was, which I appreciate. All right, that was dope.
I did too.
Yeah, like it wasn't all funny. All
Mm-hmm.
right, it wasn't. It was funny. It was sad. It was had you on your seat. It also had you thinking about some real. And I love the fact that a lot of shows now, or at least they're trying to act as if we're in the world today. All right, like which is awesome because that's probably the best way you can relate to people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Watching the old Fresh Prince, there's a lot of things that's going on in that show that just not real anymore. All right. Just not there. So I do appreciate that show. But to answer your question, Mike, absolutely. But like I said, and like how Will is, portraying in the show, he figures it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Figures it out.
Mm-hmm.
JB, we definitely appreciate you,
Appreciate
man.
y'all.
Before we let you go, is there anything you want the listeners to know?
What you're
At
doing, or any big stuff that's coming? Go ahead. Besides being a father.
Or just a word, just a testimony, like
Oh
whatever.
man, I've been, since I retired from playing ball, I've been on a mission of trying to better myself. I really want to become a head coach on the high school ranks. So I'm office coordinator right now at Cambridge Ridge and Latin High School. We're looking forward to a really good season this year. I have a lot of good kids that are committed. A lot of kids that we're talking about nowadays that are in an area that is considered the hood, all right, or a little bit rough. So it's really nice to be able to connect with them. Like I said, I have a child on the way. That's probably nothing that could beat that.
Yeah, fact.
My girl Bridget O'Leary is super awesome, trooper. All right, just it's one thing to say, men will never be pregnant. So like, it's trying to understand those feelings, but, on a day-to-day basis. In full learning mode. I got an audio book called First Time Dad that I listen to. That's a really good soundbite.
I'm gonna need you to share that at some point. Not yet, but at some point.
But the guy on it, he definitely sound, breaks it down to make it seem like what you're going through is something that should be very exciting, not something that you need to think about. And babies are a blessing. So you definitely have to look at it that way. I got a couple weddings. My buddy, one of my best friends, Camille Ashley, he's getting married in September. I'm in the wedding, so I'm looking forward to that. And then, honestly, it's just getting prepared for when little man comes. His name will be Isaiah Brown. So nickname will be Zay. All right, so
already starting
Brown. Absolutely. All right. The next Hall of Famer is on his way. All right. Honestly, that's pretty much it, man. I'm just super blessed. Looking forward to what's coming in my life. Once this new year turned, I knew something. This year was a lot different. There have been significant blessings that have been bestowed upon me from the start of the year to now. And now it's my job to take that by the reins and capitalize.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Respect. Appreciate everything, and let's not belittle you being a coach in high school, right? It's you're starting the journey of young men, right? They're not adults yet. They're still in that age of still learning different things. But what you do, how you go about your life, and what you teach them, they're gonna take forward on them as they continue their journey later on. So, thank you and appreciate you for everything that you're doing right now, brother. What up, listeners? Mike B here. Hope you enjoyed the episode. You can find us on IG at BMM_podcast. On TikTok at BMM Podcast. Facebook, just type in the Black Man Misunderstood Podcast. And then you can find the Neighborhood Therapist at the Neighborhood Therapist on IG. And you can find myself at MikeB_BMM on IG. And if you want to connect with our producer, the DJ himself, Mr. DJ Daxter, check him out at DJ Daxter on IG. Alright, folks. See y'all next week.